What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC 308. We have Ilia Topuria going against Max Holloway. And yeah, looking forward to this card for sure. I mean, we got an early start time. I'm looking forward to that. Get to watch some fights and then have a Saturday night. That should be fun. And yeah, I'm liking this card. I'm liking this card. I have, I think, 5 bets, so kind of keeping it small in terms of the number of bets, but I do have a pretty big bet on the prelims, a couple money lines, not a ton of props this week. Kind of going to try to clean it up a little bit. You know, we've been seeing a very big lack of violence, these last several months. I don't think we get a ton of finishes on this card, to be honest. I think we're getting a lot of decisions. So yeah, looking forward to it for sure. Before we get into it, if you guys could please do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. As always, going to be breaking down these fights from a betting perspective and a betting perspective only. If you guys want a further, more in-depth breakdown on why I'm picking who, I did do a full card breakdown and prediction video a couple days ago. And then also do want to let you guys know that I will be going live at 9 o'clock Eastern Time for Best Bet. Waking up nice and early. I hate waking up early, but I'm doing it for you guys, and we're going to break down some fights. Got a nice panel as well for you guys. So check out Best Bet on fight day, 1 hour before the prelims start. All right. With all that out of the way, I say we get into it. A little bit out of order here. They switched the bout order on me late in the week, which they love doing, but we'll start with Ismael Narsdiev going against Bruno Silva here. So I was researching this fight earlier in the week, and I'm like, man, I like Narsdiev quite a bit. And at the time, he was like minus 115, minus 120, and I really didn't expect the line to move this much at all. But it kind of has. And then I woke up like the next day, and it was like minus 170. I'm like, what's going on? But yeah, now he's minus 175. He's kind of stuck around there these last several days. So I ended up saying I'm probably just going to pass on it, but I did find a spot that I like quite a bit. So you guys know I do the finish only bets, also like the scorecards equals no action, same thing. On the opposite side of that, they have the decision only bets, and the decision only for Narsdiev is minus 117. And I like that quite a bit because I'm thinking like Bruno Silva, I think his path to victory is like a knockout. Narsdiev, he is very chinny, he's been knocked out in the past. Bruno Silva hits hard. With the decision only, if the fight does finish inside the distance, if Narsdiev does get knocked out, the bet gets voided. So I like that decision only quite a bit for Narsdiev. The minus 117, it makes no sense to me since he's literally minus 175 on the money line. So I have 1.5 units on that decision only for Ismael Narsdiev. I think he's the minute winner wherever the fight goes. I think on the feet, he should be the better striker, more volume. I think he can also grapple a little bit here as well, get some takedowns. And Bruno Silva just looks washed lately. He looks terrible. I think Alex Pereira took his soul in his fight where they went 3 rounds for sure, but he took a ton of damage. Since that fight, he just looked terrible. So I like Narsdiev. Give me that decision only, though, just in case he does get clipped, because that is the path for Bruno Silva. And if you do like Bruno Silva, by the way, Bruno Silva by knockout is plus 400, which it's not bad. I know we're a very, very big lack of knockouts lately, but I think if Bruno Silva's winning, that's literally how he does it. But yeah, I'm on the decision only for 1.5 units. Next, we got Ibo Aslan going against Rafael Cerqueira. I want to bet violence in this fight, but violence betting is kind of no more at this point. But geez, I mean the under 1.5 is minus 110. I'm gonna monitor the line. If I can get plus money on this under 1.5, I might take a shot on it. So look down in the comments, see if I do add it. If not, I'm fine with passing. But a plus money under would just make no sense. Like I feel like if this fight was a few months ago before the whole glove narrative type thing, I feel like this under 1.5 would be like minus 250, 260. I mean 25 of these guys' wins have finished under 1.5 rounds. Aslan's literally been over 1.5 just once his entire career, and that was in his last fight. So yeah, under or pass for me. I think the smart move is probably passing. We don't know a ton about Cerqueira. He's fought absolutely nobody. This is kind of a mess of a fight, to be honest, but I think at the very least it's going to be violent. I'd be shocked if this fight went to decision, to be honest, but I think the under 1.5 at a pick'em, it's not the worst look in the world. And also Cerqueira by submission at plus 700 as a long shot, I don't think is the worst look in the world either, just because Aslan is a fish out of water on the mat and Cerqueira is a black belt. But yeah, just kind of a weird fight for sure. Next, we got Rinat Fakhretdinov going against Carlos Leal. And Yeah, I like Fakhretdinov here. Sorry, I had the wrong fighter highlight. I like Fakhretdinov here to win this fight, probably by decision. With that said, though, I was really impressed with Liao. I think Liao's a very well-rounded fighter. He looked to be in incredible shape today at the weigh-ins. I did notice that. And yeah, maybe this fight could be, somewhat competitive. I just think Fakhretdinov's going to be able to go out there, implement his will, push Liao against the cage, take him down here or there. Probably goes to decision. So although I think Liao has a striking advantage, it's like how long will this fight be at distance striking? Probably not too long. So I kind of like Fakhretdinov here by decision, but minus 220, and I'm not in love with it. Farid Basharat going against Victor Hugo. So we had some weird things happening today at weigh-ins. So Victor Hugo weighs in, was it 145 or 146? For a bantamweight fight. So Victor Hugo literally missed weight by like 10 pounds. Basharat weighed in at 137. Apparently, they moved it up to featherweight. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, Basharat minus 800, Hugo plus 550. Nothing sticking out here, really. I mean, Hugo literally tried to cheat, but I don't know if even cheating is going to be able to help him win this fight. I think it's a pretty rough matchup for him. So yeah, I like Basharat. Basharat probably by decision, but I'm not laying minus 800 on him. Next, we got Kennedy Nzechukwu going against Chris Barnett. Yeah, this is a big pass for me, and it should be a big pass for everybody, to be honest, just because I see a lot of people taking the shot on Chris Barnett, and I get it. Like, maybe you're hanging out with your friends, having some drinks, maybe throw a couple bucks on Barnett, right? But in terms of, like, putting serious money down on Chris Barnett, I just don't think that's the most wise choice. I think that there's really no way he should be able to win this fight. With that said, though, Kennedy is just so hit or miss. Sometimes Kennedy shows up, he looks like $1 million, and sometimes he shows up and looks like the worst fighter on the roster. So I guess, since Kennedy is, inconsistent, like maybe Barnett's live, but Kennedy's going to be towering over him. Kennedy's going to be the better striker, wrestler, he's just better everywhere, younger as well, more active. So, minus 900 for Kennedy, you can't lay minus 900 on a guy like that. And then I was looking at maybe some Kennedy props, but they're all just awful. They're terrible. So it's a pass for me. I'll be rooting for Barnett. I think it'd be hilarious if he won, but I highly doubt he does win. It's a big pass for me. Next, we got Abus Magomedov going against Bruno Ferreira. I like Magomedov here. I think that Ferreira, he does have some power early on, and maybe he can knock out Magomedov, but I just think Magomedov's better everywhere. I think Magomedov's fought the much better competition, more experienced fighter. He's the better striker. He's the better wrestler, the better grappler. Although Magomedov's cardio's not great, I think he has the better cardio. I didn't like how Bruno Ferreira was looking in his last fight against Stoltzfus. It looks like he was about to break, really slowing down in that fight, and then ended up landing a spinning back elbow with 15 seconds left in the first round. I think if that fight went to the second round, he could have been in serious trouble, I think, against Dustin Stoltzfus. Magomedov has, some wrestling upside. We saw him go to it in his last fight as well. We saw Dustin Stoltzfus take down Ferreira. I didn't like how Ferreira was looking on his back. So yeah, I think Magomedov has a ton of avenues here to win this fight, and I ended up betting on Magomedov 2.5 units at minus 138, my biggest bet on the card. I guess, yeah, Ferreira, if he's winning, I think it's a KO1. If you like Ferreira, it's KO1 could be a decent look, but outside of that, I just feel like Magomedov has all the tools to go out there and look like a pretty big favorite. So give me Magomedov here on the money line, 2.5 units. Next, we got my titty back oral buy going against Mateusz Rebecki. Really wide line here. Really wide line on oral buy. I would maybe look at this from a live bet standpoint. Rebecki is very, very good, and I think skill for skill, these guys are pretty even, at least early on. The problem with Rebecki is this guy slows down in every single fight, and slows down very badly at that. So, yeah, maybe I'll just look to live bet oral buy after the first round, because he could even lose the first round, because Rebecki is no joke. Rebecki is a really solid striker, tons of power, good wrestler, good grappling. It's just the cardio is just not where it needs to be. So I kind of like oral buy to win the fight, winning the second and third round, maybe even getting a late finish. But, laying minus 340 pre-flop, I don't think is the smartest idea. Look at it from a live bet, I think. Next, we got Jeff Neal going against Rafael dos Anjos. I don't have any parlays on this card. I really got to stay away from the parlays. Anytime I do a parlay, no matter what it is, it just seems to not win at this point. So I'm trying to stay away from the parlays. But if I was to make a parlay, Jeff Neal would certainly be in it. I think it's a tough matchup for RDA. I don't like RDA at welterweight. He's 40 years old. But it is his birthday. He is fighting on his birthday, so he has the whole birthday narrative. But still, I mean, Jeff Neal, elite takedown defense for the division, should be able to stuff takedowns, keep it on the feet, do the better work, and win this fight by decision. Maybe get a knockout, but knockouts don't exist anymore. So, yeah, Jeff Neal should win. Decent parlay piece. Next, we got Shar Magomedov going against Armen Petrosyan. I took the dog shot here on Armen Petrosyan, 1 unit plus 150. I just don't see in what world this fight's not extremely close and competitive. I think, there's hype on Magomedov. I think that's why the line is where it's at, because, if this fight played out on the feet for 15 minutes, I think it looks 50-50. I think people are forgetting how good of a striker Armen Petrosyan really is. Yes, Magomedov has those really good kicks, really flashy kicks, but Petrosyan's a very, very good striker, high-level striker in his own right. And then you throw in the fact that if anybody's able to wrestle in this fight, it's Armen Petrosyan, right? Like, we saw Armen Petrosyan get a takedown against Christian Leroy Duncan. He's done it before. And you look through his record, it's like he's fighting all grapplers for the most part. Why can't he flip the script here? Take down Magomedov. If he does that, I think he has favorite upside. So at the very least, I think it's a very, very close fight. So at plus 150, it's a no-brainer. 1 unit bet for me. I'm hoping he wrestles, but if not, I still think it'll look like a solid bet. Next, we got Magomed Ankalaev going against Alexander Rakic. I do have a 1.5 unit bet on the point spread, the plus 3.5 point spread for Alexander Rakic. I think it's a close fight. I think this fight, honestly, is like 50-50, so this line makes no sense to me. With that said, though, I do have to pick Ankalaev because, in theory, I think he could go out there mixing some takedowns. But, yeah, I kind of feel like this fight's primarily going to stay striking, and at that point, it's like, how the heck does Ankalaev look minus 400? It just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. So with this plus 3.5, I'm hoping that, Rakic, at the very least, just wins one round. He needs to win just one round, not get finished, and I think that's very much on the table at plus 110. So I have 1.5 units on the Rakic, plus 3.5 points spread, plus 110. Ankalaev, I think, probably gets the win, but I'm hoping it's like a split decision type fight, which that's kind of what I'm leaning it to be. So yeah, give me Rakic plus 3.5 point spread. Moving on, we got Lerone Murphy going against Dan Ige. Yeah, I think Murphy's the rightful favorite, minus 290, though I think that's getting a little crazy. But yeah, Murphy by decision. Murphy by decision at minus 150. Honestly, I typically don't like laying chalk on props, but like a KO prop or a decision prop or even a submission prop. But this is like the one time where I think it would make sense. Ige 8 losses, all come by decision. I don't think anybody's ever finishing Dan Ige. So yeah, Murphy by decision if you do want to improve the price tag. But yeah, I'm not really in love with anything here in this fight. Moving on, we got Khamzat Chimaev going against Robert Whitaker. Yeah, this is a weird one for me. So the more the week has went on, the less and less confident I am in Khamzat Chimaev. The first thing I don't like is the fact that this is 5 rounds, because if this was 3 rounds, I could see a scenario where Chimaev isn't able to finish, but he's still able to win those first 2 rounds, maybe drop the third. But the fact that this is 5 rounds, I really hate that for Chimaev. Will it matter, though? It's yet to be seen. But yeah, I'm just getting some really weird vibes with Khamzat Chimaev. It's just something feels off. Something feels really, really off with Chimaev. And maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe he does go out there and finish Robert Whitaker within the first round and a half, 2 rounds. But I could not stomach laying minus 240 on Chimaev. If you lay minus 240 on Chimaev and this fight gets to the 3rd round, you're going to be hating your bet. Absolutely hating your bet. So if I was to bet this fight, which I think I should just pass, but Chimaev to win in rounds 1 or rounds 2 is plus 150. I think if I was to play Chimaev, that's what I would attack. But I'd be lying if I said I'm not tempted on Robert Whitaker at plus 205. Like, I'm getting really, really weird vibes with Khamzat Chimaev. It just doesn't, I don't know, he doesn't seem right this week. He's been battling just a ton of different illnesses, injuries, just a ton of stuff going on outside the cage. And if Robert Whitaker survived these first 7.5 minutes, he's going to be super live. So I don't know, it's Khamzat early or Whitaker money line. I think those are the 2 ways to play it, but I kind of tread lightly on the Khamzat side this week. I don't know what's going on with the dude. All right, and then we got Ilia Topuria going against Max Holloway. Yeah, so for me, probably an unpopular take here, but I think Holloway's very, very live in this fight. I was looking at some props here. I was looking at maybe betting the over 2.5 at minus 160, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, if I like the over at minus 160, why not? Why wouldn't I like Max Holloway at plus 210, 220, 240 even on some books? So I ended up taking a 1 unit shot on Max Holloway at plus 240 for 1 unit. And yeah, I feel like if Topuria wins this fight, he is probably knocking out Max Holloway early on. I can't pick that. I can't pick somebody to go out there and knock out Max Holloway. It's never happened. We have a massive sample size. Max Holloway has a ton of fights. He's absorbed a million significant strikes in the UFC, so maybe Topuria is the first one to knock him out. A lot of people are doing so, or are picking him to do so. His KO prop is only plus 175, which I think is hilarious. So yeah, if he knocks out Max, if he's the first one to do it, so be it. But if the fight gets to, extended, 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round, I'm going to feel pretty good about my bet. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I think it goes the distance, and I think Holloway can kind of take over more and more as the fight goes on. So I'm on Max Holloway 1 unit, plus 240 there. All right, there we go. Going to do a quick recap. 3 money lines for me. Max Holloway 1 unit plus 240. Armin Petrosian 1 unit on the money line plus 150. Abu Smagomedov 2.5 units on the money line minus 138. I have the Nardiev decision only, which is the opposite of the finish only, 1.5 units minus 117. I have the Alexander Rakic plus 3.5 point spread, 1.5 units plus 110. Looking at maybe Whitaker money line, maybe. If I do, it's probably small. And then maybe looking at the only violent spot I would even think about making in this fight would be on the Aslan-Sakara fight. But yeah, violence has just not been hitting, these last several months. So I would tread lightly, anything violence related, unless you really like it. So, and I kind of do like it a lot, but we'll see. But yeah, the 5 bets thus far, might add, we'll see. But yeah, guys, best of luck for UFC 308. Enjoy the fights, early start time, and go have yourself a fun Saturday night. Go do something with your family. Maybe hit up the strip club. The options are endless for you guys. So yeah, guys, best of luck. We'll talk to you soon. See you later.